All right, everybody, welcome back. We got some more running backs to get through. By the way, if you haven't had your fill of running backs, we're going to be talking about them quite a bit tonight on the Hawks Nest stream. Remember, we are doing 2 shows a week for the duration of April to get through this draft. Actually, by the end of it, we'll be doing more than 2 shows a week because we'll be covering the draft in minute detail as it's happening the evenings after the draft is over. But yeah, we'll be doing 2 shows a week until the draft, so be prepared for that. Okay, so more running backs. We're going to go with Blake Watson of Memphis, 24 years old when the season starts, 5'9", 200 pounds, and what I'm about to say comes from his pro day, so take it as seriously as it needs to be taken, which is maybe not that seriously. But understand that this is not an official combine test. This is clearly, I would say, being slanted a little bit in his favor. But it's still remarkable what he managed to do at his pro day. 4.39 40, 41.5-inch vert, 11 foot 3 inch broad. The guy is a freak athlete. Absolute freak. And even if those numbers are fudged a little bit, it doesn't matter. They're still incredible. Even if his vert wasn't 40.5, it was over 40. Even if his broad wasn't 11 foot 3 inches, it was 11 at least. I don't think they fudge it by that much. Nevertheless, the two big boards that he's on that are considered major players have him undrafted, as does the mock draft database. Pro Day may have changed that because the Pro Day was very recent. Over the last 2 years, he's been very productive for Memphis. Over 2,000 rushing yards, about 6 yards carry, 19 rushing touchdowns, and about 90 catches for about 800 receiving yards. So, crazy good production at Memphis for Blake Watson. He's got great lateral agility. Missed would-be tacklers abound in his tape because it's just hard to catch a guy who can move this quickly to the left and right. He's got good instincts with the football. When he has the ball in his hands, he's really good at understanding where the action is going, where he should be, where his blockers are going to be, where the defense is going to be. He knows where to find the right place to go. He sifts through traffic really well on his runs. Really good at pushing through a thicket of defenders and blockers. He's a weapon as a pass catcher, not just as a receiver out of the backfield, but also a receiver lining up at receiver. His vision is really good as well. His running back vision is very good. He really understands how to see the whole play as it's developing. And he has the patience to wait for blockers to set up before he goes. So there's a lot that Blake Watson is bringing to the table here that is good. He is smaller. He is on the smaller side, which, I mean, look, when you test like this, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but he is smaller. He looks faster on the track team than he does on tape. Like, he didn't look like a 4.39 guy watching the tape, I'll say that much. So maybe there's a little bit that's holding him back. Maybe there's just a little something that he's not totally comfortable with when he's running in pads. I don't know what it is, but he's got to work to unlock it fully. He runs upright, which means that when he gets hit, he crumples. He's not somebody who's going to survive contact. He's not somebody with contact balance. And while he is very deadly once he's allowed to get up to top speed because of his lateral agility, before he gets up to top speed, it's a little more dicey. So it's more of a thing where once he gets up to top speed, you can forget about it. But before then, he's a little bit easier to bring down. So I think there's, at the very least, a really good scat back in here. I think he'll be really good on third down. And maybe he has the potential to be a little bit more than that. Maybe he can go beyond just that scat back thing. Maybe he can be Darren Sproles. Maybe he can be much more than Darren Sproles. So I'd say 5th round pick. I go 5th round. Can't go higher than that yet, but I am definitely intrigued with what I'm seeing with Blake Watson. Miyan Williams of Ohio State is next. The Buckeye, 22 years old when the season starts. 5'8.5", but 230. So he's got a low center of gravity. The dude is built low to the ground. Short arms, 28 and 5/8 inch arms, 9 inch hands. Big boards, PFF has him in the 6th or 7th. ESPN and CBS have him undrafted. So does the database. So uphill battle just to get drafted, honestly. And in 2023, he didn't play very much because he got hurt, which is a big reason why he's not on anyone's radar. The previous 2 years, he played an okay amount and was efficient. Averaged well over 6.5 yards a carry over 2021 and 2022. 17 rushing touchdowns, 14 in 2022. Very little work as a receiver, though, so you're not getting the full picture here, but you are getting some stuff. So, McNeel, he runs with power. He can break tackles. He can push through tacklers. He can push the pile for extra yards. His ability to plant his foot and cut and go is impressive. Like, he'll be surveying things with the ball, looking, and then he plants and goes. And it's very quick and sudden. He's a good pass protector. He can pick up blitzes. If you give him the ball in a short yardage situation, he's got a real nose for making sure he gets the yardage necessary. You can put him in on the goal line. He's going to get in the end zone. You get him the ball on 3rd and 1. He's getting the first down. And he has a good understanding of when it's time to stop pushing, when it's time to just let the play end, when it's time to just go, okay, we good. I've gotten what I can get. Now it's time to put my shoulder down, fight for a few extra yards, but the play's over. He's not elusive in the open field, doesn't really bring any of that to the table. Barely played in 2023 because of an injury, so he's not starting his pro career off on the best note. He doesn't have good top-end speed, and he doesn't have quick acceleration, so the athletic profile is not everything that we want it to be. His vision as a running back is kind of lacking. He doesn't always see the hole. He doesn't always see the play developing, and he gives you basically nothing as a receiver. He's basically a pure power back, early down runner. So I think there's a little something here, but not enough for me to say it should be drafted. Like, I could see him being appealing as a power back. He doesn't have a lot of miles on him, but there's really nothing else here other than just like a guy you give the ball to in short yardage. The fact that he can pick up blitzes is great, but he's also a complete non-factor as a receiver. So it's like, do you really want him out there on 3rd downs when he's not going to be able to do things in that regard? Probably not. So UDFA. I think that he is a UDFA option for a 4th running back, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't think he's quite enough to be draftable for me. All right, so that's McNeel. Let's putter on down to our next guy here, Rasheen Ali. Rasheen Ali of the Thundering Herd, the Martzall team. 23 years old when the season starts. 5'11", 206 pounds, 31 and a quarter arms, 8 5/8 hands, so kind of average size, roughly, kind of small hands for whatever we care about that. ESPN's the only big board that's really high on him. They have him in like the 5th. PFF says 7th. CBS undrafted. The database has him in the 6th, I guess, but he's kind of on the fringe of draftable. Been very productive for Martzall. He missed most of 2022, but 2023... 1,100 yards, 5.5 yards a carry, 15 touchdowns, and 28 catches. 2021 was his best year, though. 1,400 rush yards, 334 receiving yards, 45 catches, 23 touchdowns. So he's been a beast. He was an even bigger beast in 2021 than he was in 2023. So he's putting up the numbers. He's putting up those stats that you need. But is it going to work in the NFL, especially when you're coming from a somewhat smaller school like Martzall? So let's break it down here. He gets up to top speed in a flash. He's got great acceleration. His burst going from cruise control to slam the gas down is impressive and stands out. Very productive in his college career. Big time nose for the end zone. When he gets close to that end zone line, his eyes get big and he wants it. You can just tell. He waits for the right moment before exploding through the hole. He's really patient with understanding, okay, the hole is going to be here. I need to wait for it to open up and then go. He moves well in open space. He's a pretty elusive worker when he's in open field. He's a good pass protector as well and a very capable receiver. So you're getting a 3rd down back here potentially with Rasheen Ali. He can even line up wide. You can even line him up as a wide receiver, and he can do it. He can run receiver routes. He can catch receiver balls. And he's going to add value to your team in that way. So that's great. Now, when he gets hit, he's going to get chopped down very quickly because he runs upright. He's not going to be able to survive contact very much. He's not going to be able to run with power. He's just not that kind of runner. His top speed, while he gets up to it very quickly, is also kind of slow. He's not a very fast runner at his top speed. In the passing game, he does do a good job of running routes and catching the ball, but he's also not a big yak threat. You can kind of see that his yards per catch are a little bit low in his career. And at the end of the day, that's okay, but he's mostly just going to be a check down option and a chain mover in the passing game. Doesn't really push the pile, doesn't really run with any kind of power or any ability to get short yardage. Missed most of 2022 with injury, so he's already got a little bit of red in the ledger. So there are some appealing traits boxed into this package. The missing almost all of 2022 is a concern, but I think this should work pretty well as long as you understand what you're getting here. You're getting a mostly a third down back who can provide some explosion and some dynamic ability in the open field. So I'd say 6th round. You get him in the 6th round, I'm pretty happy with that. Definitely would fit in well in a backfield with a few other guys who are a little more qualified, and Ollie can just kind of man that 4th running back role. So seems pretty good to me. And that'll do it for this group of running backs. We got one more coming up a little bit later today. See you guys then. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think of this crew. And yeah, a lot of running backs down here at the bottom of the draftable area. So a lot of stuff to sift through here, but we're finding the guys with real potential.